I quit my six-figure dream job in cybersecurity during the pandemic. Now, before you call me crazy, here's why. I found my dream job without a college degree, without needing certifications or even coding experience. And I wanted to teach people just like me how to find a six-figure salary in cybersecurity without these must-haves that everybody thinks you need. Because the truth is, you can land a career with the Fortune 500 to know which careers to look for, and most importantly, how to stand out. So stick around for the rest of this video because I'm going to reveal 5 keys to starting a $200,000 plus cybersecurity career in 2022. Hey, welcome back Cyber Heroes, and if you're new, I'm Boyd Cluis, an internationally recognized cybersecurity expert, and I help IT guys upgrade their jobs into a six-figure cybersecurity career. Now before we get started, I just need your permission to challenge your perspective. I got it right? Good, let's go. Because you're living in the matrix. Because I would imagine that you've heard that you need a college degree. Wrong. Decades of experience. Wrong. A special IT certification. Wrong. To get into cybersecurity and make good income. That's not right. So what I want to do is set the record straight. And why you should listen to me? I've been the senior security architect for the world's largest airline, cybersecurity consultant to some of the biggest companies in the world. I've been featured on several news shows and articles. I've spoken at cybersecurity conferences all over the world, and I don't have a college degree, and I didn't have any special certifications when I got into cybersecurity. And I'm not sharing this to brag. I want you to see the possibilities. In fact, I've helped over 500 people make a similar transition into cybersecurity, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. So the question is, are you ready? All right, guys, before we get started with the keys for making this shift into this profitable cybersecurity career, I want to give you a quick backstory just for some context. Because some people believe that Boyd Cluis is this guy that went to school and learned all this IT stuff, and that is highly incorrect. Before I made the transition, notice how I said transition, which means I didn't start in IT. I actually started working in accounts receivable for a large copy manufacturer by the name of Ricoh. You probably have a Ricoh copier in your office, unless you're working at home in your PJs. Anyway, I was working in accounts receivable, and desktop support that Ricoh offered for us employees in Dallas was actually based out of New Jersey. So whenever a computer would break, we would have to pack the computer up and ship it to New Jersey. And so I'm just gonna be honest, I was a little lazy. And because I was lazy, I didn't want the company to have to ship computers from Dallas to New Jersey because that meant that I had to do other people's work while their computer was getting serviced. So I was like, we're not shipping these computers anymore. I'm sure that I can figure out what's wrong with these computers and I can fix them myself. So whenever somebody's computer would break, oftentimes it needed like an update, a virus removed, or sometimes even just like physical components. I would actually make those repairs on site, and I wasn't getting paid for this at all, but I would make those repairs so that the person could get back to work and I didn't have to consume their work. But that eventually ended up paying off for me. Because after doing that for a little while, the company actually decided to lay everybody off in the Dallas office because they moved operations to California. And so here I am working in accounts receivable. Now I'm laid off. I didn't have a job. So what I did was I took advantage of the downtime and the opportunity, and I went online, I bought some books, and I taught myself enough about basic IT to get the CompTIA A+ certification. And when I got that certification, I was on cloud 9. I was like, hey, I'm a certified computer technician. Woohoo, I'm about to get paid. Wrong. It didn't work out like that. But what I did was I went and I interviewed for a position at a small company. And believe it or not, I actually found this job on Craigslist. Yeah, I actually found this job on Craigslist. So that's how I got into IT. So now let's shift into the keys so I can give you that insight to help you take your career to 200K and beyond. Let's go. All right, cyber heroes, here we go with key number 1, and it is start small. What I've noticed over my career is most people make the mistake of thinking that they're gonna go and work for a big company because that big company is gonna give them a big paycheck. And number one, that's not right, because big companies really value experience and skills, which we'll talk about later, but you're going to be siloed at a big company. Because of industry requirements, government regulations and whatnot, companies are compartmentalized. That's why you have different divisions: marketing division, legal divisions, compliance divisions, desktop division, etc. So there's no conflicts of interest. Well, when you work at a smaller company, those things usually don't exist. What that means is you're going to be exposed to quite a bit. So when I made this transition from accounts receivable, I went and worked for a small MSP, which stands for Managed Service Provider. The company that I worked at provided IT services to other small businesses that couldn't afford an IT department. So I was essentially supporting 40 different clients, 40 different businesses over vast industries. I'm talking about banking, automotive, medical. There was a lot of things that I was exposed to that wouldn't happen if I just went and worked at a big company. Now, the cool thing about this is, I made the transition from accounts receivable, but when I interviewed for this position, they knew that I didn't have the experience that they were looking for, but they liked my attitude and believed that I had the ability to be coachable and to be able to learn. So they hired me and said that they would train me. So I was super grateful for that. But it came with a lot of work. So understand, when I'm telling you start small, I want you to start at a smaller company. This way you are exposed to a lot more. Because what happens is, working a year or year and a half at a small company is like the culmination of working like 5 years at a big company. I learned Active Directory, I learned web applications, I learned security. I learned so much in just like 18 months working at this small company. And again, it would not have happened if I would have been compartmentalized at a large corporation. So that is key number one: start small, because you're going to need everything that you learned to help grow your career. So each one of these keys is going to build up on each other. So let's get ready for key number 2. All right, guys, now key 2 is so important, and it is shift your perspective. So what you need to understand is, when you're working at this small company, you're going to be doing a lot, but this is part of the game. But if you don't convince yourself, if you don't sell yourself this new perspective, it's going to be tough on you, because what you're going to be focused on is how much work you're doing and how much money you're not working. It will sabotage your ability to earn in the future. So this shift of perspective is, you need to understand that you are getting paid to learn, and eventually you're going to be well compensated for your knowledge. Well compensated. And so that's the way that I looked at it. I figured that, hey, I'm getting paid. At that time, it was a $40,000 job. But again, I was learning cybersecurity skills. I was learning people skills, consulting skills, because I had to go from business to business. I was establishing my network. I was building my skill set, my brand, and I was getting paid to do it. I wasn't getting paid a lot of money, but there were so many things that I was learning that I wouldn't have learned at a big company. So I had to have that shift. Every day that I woke up, I was excited to go to work, knowing that I'm getting paid to learn. So I had my hands on so many things. Like, my mind was exploding. It was super fun. And it was even better once I put on that mindset of getting paid to learn. So if that's you right now, and you're working at a help desk or you're working at an MSP provider, and they have you doing so much and you feel like the paycheck is not reflecting the work that you're doing, just understand that you're getting paid to learn, and eventually you will be well compensated for your knowledge, because I'm going to tell you how to do it in this video. So keep watching and stand by for key number 3. Key number 3, you're going to love this one right here. Get your certs for free. Yes, I said get your certs for free. And I know this is weird, because you see Boyd talking about certifications and he's like, oh no, don't get certified, don't get certified. And I never say don't get certified. What people have this illusion of thinking is, because I got this certification, I'm gonna get paid more money. It doesn't work like that. Company pay you for skills, not certifications. There's a difference between the two. But this is what you need to understand. A good company that truly values their employees is going to want to make sure that they understand what's going on in the industry and they're trained on the latest and greatest. So you, as an employee, need to capitalize on this. And there's two ways to do this. Number one, if you're going to accept a new position during the salary negotiation, make sure that you ask for an annual training budget. Usually $2,000 to $3,000 a year is perfect for training. Now notice I said in the salary negotiation, because once the company gets you, they got you. Good luck getting that added in there. But if you are already in a role and you think that you could benefit from this, and this is what you need to do. You need to do what I call the value proposition. So what I did before I figured this out, because I have several certifications, but the companies I work for, they pay for them all. I told them, like, as I was working on different projects or I got promoted to different divisions, for example, with cybersecurity, I told them, hey, we have this cybersecurity assessment that's coming up, and I feel like this training over here from the CISSP would give me the insights and the tools that would help us build a better program so that we could pass these security assessments faster and under budget. And this training for this thing is only $3,000. But I'll do you guys a favor. I won't even ask you for the training budget. If you'll just pay for the certification, I'll train on my own and I guarantee I'll pass it. And that's how I got my CISSP paid for. I personally like to create my own study curriculums because that's how I work. But maybe you do want to go to a boot camp or something. There's nothing wrong with asking your employer to invest in you to make that happen. Because what you have to understand is you are giving your employer something that you'll never get back, which is your time. So they should definitely be investing in you with something that you can retain, which is a certification. So again, I'm not against certifications. I'm against the idea that certifications will get you a job, but you should definitely leverage employers to pay for your certification trainings. All right, guys, so let's jump into key number 4. And I love this one right here, but most IT professionals, they get this wrong and it costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars over their career. You ready for this? Specialize, don't generalize. By now, if you follow these keys, because you might be in different phases of your career right now, you should have the certifications and you should have the skills to back them up. So you've probably heard the saying that says, jack of all trades and master of none. Well, if you want to make general dollars, continue to be a generalist. But if you want to earn 200K and above, you need to specialize in a high impact skill. Me personally, I chose the PCI DSS. Or should I say, the PCI DSS actually chose me. So the guy that was managing the security assessment at my company actually fell asleep on the job, but yeah, that's a whole different story. PCI DSS stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, and it's governed by the PCI SSC, which is the Payment Card Industry Council, right? So this standard is all about credit card data security. So any company that stores, processes, transmits credit card data must comply with this PCI DSS standard every day and validate compliance every year. And if they don't, they could be fined millions upon millions of dollars, especially if they have a breach. So if you think about companies like Target, Home Depot, Neiman Marcus, and even companies like Newegg, they had credit card data breaches and they were fined millions of dollars because they were not compliant with this standard. So what you have to do is put your business hat on and think about this. If a company has the potential to lose millions of dollars for not understanding and not implementing these controls from this cybersecurity framework, why would they not pay you 6 figures and beyond to help them offset the risk of that? You essentially become living insurance to make sure that these companies are compliant with the standards, right? So what I did was, when I was put in the position to help this company get past this assessment, I didn't know anything about it. So I studied it and I learned how to understand these controls and these requirements. I helped the company get through the assessment, And after a few assessments, I developed a knack for really understanding and dissecting this requirements to help companies implement controls and speed up assessments, which saved them a ton of money, which was me adding value. So I took that skill and I marketed and I branded myself as the payment security expert. And that's what allowed me to step my career from an analyst to a security architect at American Airlines. So the skill that you specialize in doesn't have to be the PCI DSS, but what you need to master is, what you need to specialize in is something that has high impact to the business. Because if it doesn't, there's no reason for them to pay you a significant amount of money. All right, guys, now this brings us to the last key right here is trade value for dollars. Where most people, most IT guys go wrong is they trade hours for dollars. And when you do that, you're never going to get yourself out of the hole. It is extremely hard to become financially secure because you always have your income tied to how many hours that you worked. But instead, when you trade value for dollars, you can actually start charging based on the value that you're bringing to the organization. And so what I did was, after leading several large corporations through successful PCI assessments, marketing and branding myself as the PCI DSS expert, through thought leadership on LinkedIn and speaking at conferences, I landed a role at a security consulting firm as a PCI DSS consultant, and I was making over $200,000 annually before I quit and started my own firm. Now, what's important about this is my income wasn't tied to some dollar per hour. It was tied to the value that I was bringing to the consulting firm that I was working for and my clients. For example, I would bill out different security assessments that would bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue to the company. So it only makes sense that I would get a piece of that. So now this is what you have to understand. You need to treat your career and your skill set like it is a business, not this employer relationship. Once you have these skills, you have to always be marketing and branding yourself, because you never know who's following you. You never know who you might meet. This high-paying position that I had as a security consultant that paid me more than $200,000 annually, I never applied for this job. It actually came from a meeting when I met a guy at a security conference that he had heard of the work that I was doing, and he was very interested in working with me. Now, this had everything to do with how I positioned myself on LinkedIn and how I conducted myself professionally in this industry. So when you manage your career like it's a business, you market, you brand yourself, and you specialize on high income skills that have massive impact on the business, it is extremely simple and easy to get to the place where you're making $200,000 annually in cybersecurity. And throughout all these things that I'm telling you, I never mentioned anything about college degrees or going to get some type of specialized training to make any of this happen. When I did this thing, everything that I did, it was self-taught. Now, maybe you don't have the discipline, and that's okay, and you need resources. There's plenty of training resources out there, reputable training resources that could teach you these skills, but ultimately, the expertise comes from doing, not just knowing. Hey guys, we did it. 5 keys. A wise man once said, keys open doors. So which of these 5 keys was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Now that you have 5 keys to starting a 200K plus cybersecurity career, I want to personally help you learn the skills and how to brand yourself to make that $200,000 dream become a reality. I invite you to apply to the Baxter Cluis Cybersecurity Training Academy at www.boydcluis.com/GRC. We'll provide you with the skills, the support, and the community, and even internship opportunities so that you can move from generalist to highly paid specialist in just months. Before you head over to the website, let me know that you found this video useful by hitting the thumbs up below and subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you're notified each week when I drop new career tips and strategies to help you break into a profitable cybersecurity career. Well, that's all, folks. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.